Welcome everybody, this is Brother Meek here. Today we're doing another Oracle build. This is the Fire Mystery build. Now, I went a little crazy on this one when it comes to feats. I want to show you this before we finish it off. But know that I grabbed every possible revelation that they had access to. So we have Firebreath, we have Heat Aura, Molten Skin, Touch of Flame, Burning Magic. We have one more to pick up here. That would be 6. There's 9 altogether. You notice I picked up 2 more up here. This is a form of the Flame and Cinder Dance. Now, I would normally not do this. It's just so I can show you what they're capable of. And to talk quickly, hopefully, about why they're kind of garbage for some of them. So, let's actually look at the list proper. So, here's Flame Mystery. Not Fire Mystery, Flame Mystery, excuse me. This was the list. On this list, the ones that, personally speaking, I could do without, Wings of Fire, which I will show you to you once we actually level up, is kind of lackluster. It's basically just like having Fly on. However, it's never permanent. It's always a 1-minute incremental use. So when you get it, you can use it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Basically, every time you have to reset it, re-click it, basically. Which is kind of okay. It's still one of those where it's like, you know, why don't you just give me the Fly spell? Or give me permanent wings, or go Aasimar and just get wings as a feat. Because if I'm going to use it here, if I grab it here, it's one thing, but if I have to buy it as a feat up here, why not just buy the wings that the Aasimar get and just have them permanently? That would be the way I'd do it. So it seems silly just to get just that one thing as a minor increment. You know, initially that would be fine, but again, if, like say, at level 17 or 20 or some such, they just said, now you have them permanently, that would be awesome. But because of that, that doesn't make my cut. We have these other ones up here. See, Fire Breath right here is a lame damaging breath, 1d4 of damage. I don't know why it's so lackluster here. But it does scale nice, at least by the time you're done. It's a 20d4 fire damage. Now, the downside on that, it doesn't get any real buffs. It's not as far as being considered fire spell. It's not. It's considered its own supernatural ability, which is good and bad, and we'll talk about that after a bit. Heat Aura. This one would probably not make my cut if it weren't for this one little thing right here. And again, it's another one of those clickables. It's a swift action, so there, that part's nice. It does damage, but this one's even worse than the Fire Breath. Instead of 1d4 per level, it's every 2 levels. So by the end of your build, if you go on a Purist, it's a 10d4 AoE, very close AoE, 10-foot range. And it's damaging to your teammates too, so be real careful with this thing. Reflex save, but this part here is the real reason it's actually worthwhile. If you activate it for that round, and only that round, so until your very next turn, basically, you have concealment, 20%, just like Blur was on your character. Which is something, I guess. You just don't get many uses a day of it for that matter, so having it only be something that can, oh, I hurt you a little bit, and now I also get to basically be less likely to be hit for 6 seconds. Pass. Another example, Molten Skin. Plenty of ways for you to get fire immunity. Who really cares? But you do, because, I mean, it's Flame Mystery. Why wouldn't you want this? So again, I'll pick this up. It might be later in the build, but I'll definitely pick this one up. Having said that, Touch of Flame is another one that could kind of go the way of the dodo if it weren't for its end mark, a level 11 upgrade. This one here is just nothing more than a multiple touch attack a day, where it does 1d6 of damage plus 1 for every 2 oracle levels. So literally 1d6 plus 10 at best case scenario. So 11 to 16, and it's a touch attack, not a raise spell. Literally, you walk over, you have to touch him on the goddamn shoulder. Who the hell's going to ever use that? I mean, it's lame from the start, it's lame by the end. This is the reason you actually care about it. When you get it to level 11 or higher, an oracle, it actually becomes a boost to any weapon that you're wielding. They become flame weapons. So pretty badass for that reason alone. It's only a 1d6 of damage at that point, but you were going to use your weapon, I assume, so here you go. And I don't mind this one then so much because of that. Now over here we have Burning Magic. Now this one's interesting. Notice that basically anytime they make a saving throw against any fire damage you deal on these with your spells, they literally catch fire. Assuming they fail their initial save. So there's that. And then it lasts for a specific number of rounds. And they just take minor damage. Fire deals 1 point of fire damage per spell level at the beginning of the burning creature's turn. So if it's a level 9 spell would be like the best case scenario, and I don't think there is a level 9 fire spell for that matter. But there's ways around that. They're going to take 9 points of damage every round for 1 to 4 rounds. Which is not amazing, I'll grant you, but it's free. Of course, you have to pick something in these 6 spots anyway, so why not grab something that actually does you a little bit extra damage? You're going to be casting fire spells, so it kind of makes sense to me. So I'll take that one. And then again, I don't mind that so much. Now these ones up here, not counting the last 2 free ones we're going to talk about later. Form of the Flame. At first glance, I thought this would be my capstone one. This would be like the one that I must have. And the more I look into it, the more I'm like, it's alright. You lose your weapon. Let's be real clear on this. You lose your weapon for the duration of this, and you also lose your armor because you're turning into this form. This is why we never use Elemental Body 2, which is usually my favorite, by the way, because it's not a size penalty. You're not so big that it's easier to hit you. The Elemental Body 2 gives you a lot of dexterity, and again, it's a solid upgrade in my opinion. Having said all that, they force you into taking level 1, 2, 3, and then eventually 4, because it replaces itself as you level up in progress on this one. The good news on this one is it lasts, instead of like 1 minute or 1 round or whatever the hell it is per caster level, it's 1 hour per caster level. So by the end of your build, this is a 20-hour buff to you. And you turn into, let's face it, a flaming giant god, which is just freaking awesome. The boon that you get as far as extra armor and the other stuff, and you can cast spells, thank God, in this form, thanks to this mod, the Eldritch Arcana mod, allows you to cast spells in a variety of forms that you didn't in the vanilla version of the game. This is one of those spells. So this is kind of cool in that you can actually change into this form and still cast your spells and still be awesome. The fact that you lose your weapon and you lose your armor is 2 things we need to discuss. First, let's talk about the weapon. Whatever weapon you choose, or weapons if you're 2-weapon wielding, for instance, is gone. It just basically gets absorbed into the body, and you do like melee attacks, and they're not even punches. So for those of you thinking, well, I'll just monk it up. Yeah, there's a reason to do that, and it's armor. That's the second part we're going to talk about. But as far as, getting flurry of blows and shit like that, this is not a punch. This is a flame attack, and as such, you punch them, sort of, with your flamey fists, and it's not considered an actual melee brawl, per se. It's still a melee attack, and it's still extra fire damage on top of it. It seems very weird that it doesn't include it as a flurry of blows type situation. Even if it's not flurry of blows, it should still be a punch, so that if you have something that buffs, say, your swing, if you were like monking it up and like doing fist attacks, it should benefit this too, but it does not. The only form that I know of that does that, as far as your elemental body forms, is Earth Elemental. They actually have fists. And again, it's a solid form, pardon the pun. I do appreciate that form for a variety of reasons. It's one of the strongest. It has nice constitution. It has amazing armor. Even has like a little speed buff because you're rolling around on a little wheel of rock, which is freaking funny as hell looking. And so it's a solid upgrade in my opinion. Again, limited number of attacks around, but at least it is a punch. So there is that. The reason I know this is, as far as it being a punch and not a punch, make yourself a sword saint sometime and check all your elemental body forms. And if you notice that if you're a sword saint that is a specialty in fists, so punching, weapon focus, unarmed strike. If you do that and you notice you're losing all your armor in any of the forms, it's because you're not using fists. That's how you know it's not a fist attack, okay? That's how I know that the Earth Elemental works. But again, this one's okay, and it gives you armor besides natural armor bonus, a pretty solid upgrade, no less, and I'll show it to you. But you lose your armor, and again, this is where we need to really be careful here. Because you're losing your armor, and this character is an oracle and has access to light, medium armor, and of course shields, you lose all that. Whatever you were using, poof, it gets absorbed into the body. Well, I've decided to go a different route. I've decided, you know what, I'm not wearing armor, which is crazy talk, but I am wearing braces of armor class +8, which is smart talk. And because of that, the bracers still work on this form. So this is a way around this problem. It's not perfect, and our spells still work, and we can still cast spells. So I'm warming up to this one, pardon the pun again, but it's a solid upgrade in my opinion. So I don't mind taking this one per se. Let's look at this last one. Cinder Dance. You move 10 foot faster. Yay. You are also immune to difficult terrain. So what? I have a spell that literally makes me immune to difficult terrain. It's called Airwalk. Sadly, I thought Airwalk made you go faster. I don't think it does, which is a bummer, but it's not fly and it's not overland flight. But this is a permanent buff to your ground speed. I can get that from gear. Hell, I can get that from spells still. So I don't particularly care about this 10 foot. And the fact that it's always on, so what? You know, I mean, at the early levels, maybe that would be interesting if I was casting Web or Grease Spell, which we don't have access to, but your teammates do, so I suppose there's that. But that's still kind of, who gives a damn? So this one would probably get kicked to the curb too. Notice as a Flame Mystery person, these are your free spells. We have Burning Hands, Resist Energy, Fireball, Wall of Fire, Fire Snake, Summon Huge Fire Elemental, a specific elemental here, you don't get to choose. We have Firestorm, Incendiary Cloud, and Fiery Body. This one's really the one you want. I mean, all the other ones are stellar, but it's just this one's going to make you amazeballs. If this one was a staple, because it looks cool, this one looks infinitely cooler, and it gives you so much more. Definitely like the Fiery Body. Now notice we have a Final Revelation to talk about, of course, since we're going as a Purist build. We could go Monk on this one, and I would not actually object to that, simply because, again, you would get your Monk abilities while in this form. So, high Charisma, Sacred Fist Monk, you could really rock a solid armor class still, especially if you wanted to go melee style, which I did not do, and go, Crane style, Crane Wing, Crane Riposte, Dodge, all that cool jazz, and just rock a massive armor class and just physically beat the shit out of stuff while on fire. Nothing wrong with that shit. But I'm not. I'm taking Purist. The Monk build we're saving for the very end. This one here, the Final Revelation, is not a bad upgrade, hence the reason for going Purist. What you basically get is the three meta magics called Extend, Reach, and Intensify meta magic. You don't have to pick them. I picked one, but you don't have to. At level 20, you get a toggle for each of these three meta magics. Any fire spell that you cast, you can either extend it, intensify it, or reach it, assuming you can do that, of course. For example, you cannot reach a fireball spell because it's already at the longest range possible. You can't extend a fireball spell because, again, it's instantaneous damage. You can, however, intensify it. So again, go through your spells that you'll have access to that are fire spells, and by fire spells, I believe they literally mean has fire in the spell descriptor. If it doesn't say fire, it ain't a fire spell. Even if it does fire damage, it's not a fire spell. So be real careful on this one. There are some spells, for instance, like Dragon's Breath, where it can be fire, and that works, but again, only if it's a fire Dragon Breath that you're picking. So you can intensify the fire versions, but not the other guys. So be real clear on that shit. Other than that, though, that was a solid upgrade, and again, I appreciate that one. At least that's something of value for this build at level 20 for a capstone ability. Notice for our curse, remember we all pick a curse as an oracle. I went for Blacken for thematic reasons. A -4 to your swing, that straight up sucks, and that lessens to a -2 at this point. Notice that it gives you Burn Hands for free in your spellbook, but we were going to get it here at level 2, Brother Mint. Yes, I know, but you get it at level 1 automatically. So this is one that thematically goes with this build, but it doesn't at the same time because it's overlapping. And it gives you even one further. Not only do they give it to you in your spellbook at level 1 instead of level 2, they also give it to you as a spell-like ability as well. What the hell? What? I'm assuming that was a mistake. I assumed that the spell-like ability was the reason they gave it to you in the first place, and it's not in your spellbook. And this shows up in your spellbook because we have it for free as an upgrade, as you see here. Nope, it literally is in both at the start of the game at level 1. This just seems odd to me, but whatever, I'm not going to complain about extra spells a day. We have the choice of being a healer or an inflictor of damage. I figured since you're fire, why would you ever be a healer? Let's just burn shit and incinerate stuff. But again, that's on you. You can make it as a healer build if you want. And again, you could be the only cleric on the team if you're this is a mercenary or your main, I don't care. You could be the healer. Just switch this out and grab for cure spells instead of inflict spells. But again, this one to me smacks of your damage dealer. You may be a buffer for people on the team, so that they're protected from fire and shit like that. But by and large, you're there to whoop up some damage. And it definitely does that. Notice as we upgrade for Black and for our curse, we get extra free spells. Here's Scorching Ray and Burning Arc, which we would not have access to for free. That would be a level 2 spell. So it shows up in your spellbook at level 5, both of them. Notice we get Wall of Fire, even though we got it already here. So again, you're not getting it twice, but if you didn't take Flame Mastery or Mystery, you would have gotten it. Notice that our attack penalty goes down to a -2. Notice that the last upgrade we get here is a Delayed Blast Fireball. Another amazing spell that was not on our list. So we're getting lots and lots of spells here for this one. Honestly, I recommend Blacken for anybody that doesn't mind that -4 to -2 penalty. just as any kind of oracle, simply because they'll have extra spells a day. I mean, that's a lot. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 free spells that do damage. You know, all fire damage, but so what? Solid upgrade in my opinion. Before we go into the last 2 levels of this character, let's show you some feats. But first, let's actually talk about our traits. Notice, not only do we have this curse, but we also have to pick a curse if we're using our traits properly to get the 3rd trait. I took a physique drawback. In this case, we took burned. Thematically made sense. Notice we have a penalty that saves against fire effects. Do I care? No. I'm going to be immune to fire effects. I'm going to give a rat's ass that I failed to save on it. Big deal. I'm fine with that. And thematically, again, it made sense to me. Notice because of that, that gives us 3 traits to play with. Now, I still went with my staple Blade of the Society, sneak attack damage. So 1d6 plus 1 of damage for every sneak attack die you have. You get 1 free sneak attack die at level 3. So there is always that potential for sneak attack. We don't have access to Sense Vitals normally in this build. There's a ways around that. And again, we'll show you that trick in a moment. Campaign trait, I went Nobleborn. I went a little weird for Ladavka, because this one gives you not only a bonus to athletics, which again I don't particularly care about, but at least it's a class skill force anyway, so a +2 is a +2, I'll take it. But this is the reason. I literally, as any kind of spellcaster, even if it's a spellcaster that doesn't normally attack with spells, think of your Vivisectionist, you actually get Snowball in your spellbook. Just freaking sweet. So this one here, literally, I never have access to Snowball. Now I do. And remember, this is a spell that not only does damage, it can sneak attack. It has no spell resistance associated with it. There is a stagger effect. There is a save. But the save is only for the stagger effect, not for having the damage. So if you hit them, they're still taking damage. And this is clearly a Dex-based build. So why not have more race spells? This is technically a race spell. I'm cool with that. And then I went for Ever Wary for the social adopted trait. Amazing upgrade for a Dex-based build. Literally, if you're caught flat-footed, you, instead of losing all your Dex bonus as well as all your dodge, you only lose half your Dex bonus. You're still considered flat-footed, but again, a +4 to your armor class versus a +0 to your armor class, I think we can agree that Ever Wary is a solid upgrade. And since we're wearing nothing but robes in this build instead of armor, again, I'd rather have high dexterity and be able to keep some of that. Notice we picked it up again, our other additional traits. We had to take another drawback. We don't have to, but we did. I went with Envy, the obvious one. You have tons of money by this time. It's a penalty to your concentration check. Who cares? You're never going to see it because, again, you're either using your spells to buff up or you're so loaded by the time you get this that you're never going to see this penalty. So I don't mind this one. For the 3 traits that we picked up for this, though, we took our magic trait of Dangerously Curious, a bonus to use magic device as well as a class skill, because you do not have this, weirdly, as a class skill. So, up till this point, you really have a very lackluster use magic device check. So this clearly gives you 4 points just by clicking this one trait. That's a solid upgrade in my opinion. Regional trait, we went with Wanderlust. Again, another reason to point this out is because, you know, we had that Cinder Dance that we were bitching about, how it's 10 feet faster. So what? This trait gives it to me for free. Yeah, I don't get the immunity to the difficult terrain, but again, I have spells that'll cover that problem, so what do I give a care about that Cinder Dance? By the way, they do stack, however, so if you go over here, you see Wanderlust, my Manticore Skin Boots, and Cinder Dance are all on that list. So I can be pretty zippy. If that's your thing, hey, do that thing. Notice, of course, we're a halfling. There's a reason for that. But as a halfling, we have a penalty to our movement. Also, by the way, I should have pointed out, for Cinder Dance, you cannot pick it up if you picked Lame as your curse. Lame is the one where you move 10 feet slower, because it kind of neuters that curse, right? So it's one of those things. But still, by and large, you could pick all these things like I have done. I wouldn't recommend it. But again, if you wanted to be super zippy, there's reasons to want to be zippy on the battlefield, especially if you have turn-based combat like I do. So this is a solid upgrade for me. So again, I went with Wanderlust. Faith trait, I went Planar Savant. This is the one that you know about. A nice bonus to one of your knowledges, where instead of using your crappy intelligence modifier, which is +4 right now, I can use my charisma modifier for one of the 2, which means you have to choose. Well, since you don't have any skill in Knowledge Arcana, Knowledge World we invested highly in, so I said, you know what, that one deserves some loving. Instead of +4, you're +10, buddy. And here's your upgrade for that one. So a solid upgrade for many of your feats, or your skills, excuse me. So that made sense to me. Now, having said all that, what else did we grab at level 1? Notice again, we are a halfling, so we have some bonuses. So bonus against fear. Notice that we have a slow speed. We already talked about sure-footed, so bonus to athletics and mobility. Keen senses, like every race except for human beings always have. Halfling luck, so bonus to our saving throws. That's actually illustrated down here as a racial bonus. That's a solid upgrade. And then, of course, these are just from the rods that I'm using currently. Now, feat-wise, because we're halfling, we'll get 1 feat at level 1. We get around that by taking spell vulnerability, and in this case, I actually did take abjuration, because not only is it a -4 to your saves against abjuration spells, which is not that many, it's a penalty to cold. You're a fire person. It makes sense. So again, I don't mind grabbing that as a penalty. And again, we have ways to protect you from cold, so I'm not worried. Because of that, that gives us 2 feats to get right off the bat. So martial weapon proficiency was necessary to get the weapon I needed. I'll talk about that in a sec. And then point blank shot, also for the weapon that we're going to go with. We're going for a halfling build that's using this goddamn sling staff. Why? Because this is the arsonist sling staff, and this gives you a damage increase to all your fire spells. That's awesome. If you've ever played a dragon bloodline from the sorcerer or the eldritch scion build, where you pick a dragon form, like a red dragon or gold dragon, where it's a fire-based dragon, and they get a natural +1 bonus to every die of damage they roll. So a fireball spell that does 10d6 of damage, now for a fire dragon type, would do 10d6 plus 10, because there's 10 dice. Okay? This is what the staff does. The same general principle. And there's other gear, another thing I'm going to show you in a moment, that gives you more bonuses to fire damage. And that's to your benefit. So by the time we finish this build, you're getting a solid +3 damage for every die of fire damage that you shoot out. So again, that same fireball spell that did 10d6 can now do 10d6 plus 30. And again, we can intensify that fireball spell, and that really does mean 15d6 of damage. Yes, it's 15 dice now, so 15 times 3 is 45, so it's 15d6 plus 45 damage per hit. Just saying. And that's just some of the lame spells, not talking about the ones that are 15d6 and 20d6 and 45d6 of damage that it's going to pump out there. So this is a solid upgrade. And again, it's a little flavor of the month, but who doesn't like flavor of the month? It's flavor of the month for a reason. Solid damage, a good weapon, and it's a strength-based weapon, so even though your strength was kind of meh, we'll talk about our stats here in a minute, but we finished with a solid strength, and we're going to have all kinds of buffs besides that push, weirdly, strength through the goddamn roof to the point where your dexterity is looking lackluster. Nothing I can do about that, but I'll happily benefit from the extra strength because that means the weapon's going to hit extra hard. Awesome. Notice this is already on fire because the weapon already was. But if it wasn't on fire, and I have a variety of staves to pick from, then literally it will turn on fire because of that one revelation that we picked. The one that I said at level 11, you turn your weapon into a flaming weapon. It doesn't stack with a flaming weapon that's already there. So this does 1d6 of fire damage by default. It was always going to do so. But if I switched over here to something like this, see how it says 1d6 of cold? It'll stay cold, but it'll also turn into a flame weapon. It doesn't look like it yet, and it kind of glitches out a little bit where it doesn't catch on fire when you're looking at it. But trust me when I say when you use it, it will be on fire. Same with these other ones. We have Carefree Hunter. This is a nice bonus to your dexterity, a morale bonus no less, so it stacks with a lot of other decks. It gives you a bonus to mobility, which again, I don't particularly care, but it's there, and hey, I'll take it. Notice that we have Vengeance of the Meek, a strength-based one, just like all of them. +2 weapon, and it's a giant bane sling staff as well. So again, against giant types, it's a +4 weapon, and then it does 2d6 of extra damage because of it's a bane weapon to giants. And then you throw on that fire damage as well. Again, it glitches in and out of whether it's on fire or not. If you catch it at the right moment, you'll suddenly see that these things are going to like burst into flames, and you'll be like, wait a minute, I thought that was my, oh yeah, that's right, I have that revelation. So again, they should all end up really looking like this when you actually pull it out. And this is still a badass looking thing. And by the way, many of these things that we're talking about gear-wise specifically are tailored towards you because your artisans are the ones making this type of gear for you. So many of these things, if you can't find them in the real game, it's because it's an artisan that crafts this shit for you. And that is another appealing thing for you. Find out who the artisan is, have that artisan on the payroll immediately, kiss their buttocks until they literally are done with all their quests, and then just continually upgrade your kingdom. Eventually they'll go around to making you this weapon, if you pick the right choice, of course. Notice that there's a couple other pieces of gear that are fire related. Amulet of 4 elements. This is the one that gives a bonus to fire, electric, cold, or acid. It's basically your 4 elements, +1 damage per die roll. So again, another one that bonus benefits your fire, along with your staff here. So that's a +1, another +1. Then we have this robe. Remember I said we're going robes? This is one of the reasons for this. Better at casting ray spells, a +4 to your swing. +1 to fire, acid, cold, electric, and it says force. Sadly, that doesn't work. I don't know if that's because of my mod. I think it works. I think my mod screws this one over. But the fire, acid, cold, and electric works. And the bonus to spell penetration works. So that's a +4 spell pen just for wearing some robes. Now again, not a lick of armor on this thing. However, you have spells. Many spells, as I'll show you. Your armor is going to be fine. The armor that's going to be an issue for you will be, honestly, like all armor class builds, touch armor class. And it'll be solid. It just won't be amazingly good. Because again, you're not monkeying it up. If you were monkeying it up, this would end up beautifully and you would be fine. But I really want that level 20 final revelation. It's an amazing upgrade and it's something that I would not discount. I wouldn't go over the other gear except for to point out, of course, the braces of armor class +8. Notice that I have a rod of flaming vengeance. All my spells, if this is just sitting in my belt, doesn't matter if I've used the charge or not, just by having it in my belt, all my spells are considered one caster level higher. Not just fire spells, every spell. So I'm level 21 as far as the game is concerned. And I get the bonus to evocation spells DC check, which are most of my fire spells. And weirdly, every spell that you cast that does damage, even stuff like inflict wounds, is doing fire damage now by having this equipped. Now again, when you come across somebody that's immune to fire damage, guess what? The shit has to get kicked out of your belt. Or you have to hit him with something like your staff, with your sling stones. You damage them that way. Nothing wrong with that. But the point's the same, is that if you have fire immune targets, this shit needs to go into your pack for the time being. So that you can use your other spells to damage the son of a bitch like normal. Notice one other quick one. I mean, I know I'm covering a lot of stuff, but the only one to really mention here is your Star Soldier's Gauntlet. You have these made from finding the pieces of like metal, of alien metal in the game. Have the storyteller, man, I can't think this morning, have the storyteller craft this for you. Once you find all the pieces, which will be late in the game, but still, when you finally do, it'll be a +8 bonus to your strength, which means we can have a massive bonus here. And then allows you to use at will laser beam, 4d6 damage, 3 beams in a combat round. So basically this is Scorching Ray at will for free. And because it's Scorching Ray fire damage by default, these bonuses that you're getting here, here, and here for damage stack for that beam as well. So we're thinking about this. 4d6 of damage, that's 4 dice worth of damage. That's fire damage. Assuming that it's point blank range, because it has to be, because it's 30 feet range for these spells. So that's a +1 since we have point blank shot. Because we have point blank shot, then it's +1 to your swing and a +1 to your damage. Okay, so 46 +1. Now, 4 dice times 3, because 1 from the staff, 2 from this one, then 3 from this one. Get you at a 4d6 +1 +12 per beam. So 4d6 +13 times 3. Wait, there's more. We have a sneak attack die, 1d6 +1, remember? And guess what type of damage it turns into if you hit him with a fire spell. That's right, it's not sneak attack physical damage, it's sneak attack whatever damage type you hit them with. In this case, fire. And again, it is a fire attack, and therefore 1d6 +1 turns into 1d6 +1 +3. Where did the other 3 come from? Again, here, here, and here, because it's fire damage. Wait, there's still more. Okay, remember I said you couldn't do Sense Vitals. That's not technically true. We have a spell called Lesser Miracle that I have already picked on this build. That gives you access to pretty much every spell level 1 through 6. And I really mean every spell. Like there's rogue spells, or no, rogues, sorry, ranger spells in there. There's paladin spells that are unique to paladins that are in this list. And you're like, what the hell am I ever going to use that for? Trust me, you still want to know that it's on the list. But this also includes a level 2 wizard spell called Sense Vitals. That's 5d6 of damage at best case scenario, plus your 1d6 +1. So you could be doing 6d6 plus 6 damage per beam just from sneak attack. And then because of these 3 pieces of gear, that 6d6 plus 6 turns into 6d6 plus 6 plus 18 damage per beam, as long as you can sneak attack with it. So again, teammate friendly build. Set yourself up with having teammates flanking the bad guys and attack from range, which is why I made it a ranged build, for those of you wondering. Not just because of the staff, that was just a pleasant bonus. And again, why did I have to go martial weapon proficiency? Because this is an exotic weapon, but this is a halfling. These are halfling weapons. As such, it doesn't say it, but as such, a halfling can use it so long as they have martial weapon proficiency. It's the same as the elf that can pick up with martial weapon proficiency something like an exotic weapon like the elven curved blade, because they have training in it from their heritage. Same with the dwarves picking up the dwarven war axe, which is an exotic weapon, but if they have martial weapon proficiency, they can pick up the dwarven war axe and use it. Same with the orcs, you get the idea. So everyone except for humans are awesome, is the short version. This is a solid upgrade then for you. And I'll happily burn a feat grabbing martial weapon proficiency just to get this staff. And again, this also gives you the ability to use bows, which we did not have before. So again, a solid upgrade. So you don't have to use just the staff. I'm just showcasing the fact that there's many in the game. 4 is a solid upgrade in my opinion. We have plenty of bows that you're going to use up until you find your first magic sling staff. So don't think that, oh my god, this is going to be terrible until I find the staff. Where's the staff at? It's not going to be a problem. Just become a bow person until that time. Having said that, let's talk about our abilities. Strength started off as a 12. Well, actually as an 8 because you're halfling, but I bumped it up to a 12. Notice that we have Dex of 16, 14 plus 2 for the halfling, so it started off at 16 and now we stayed 16. Con, we moved it to a 12, moved intelligence to a 12, and I lowered wisdom to an 8. Okay, that's how I managed to get all those stats like we just talked about. And of course charisma plus 2 thanks to being halfling. I had started off as a 17 plus 2, so a 19 at the beginning of the leveling process. And all 5 points are going into charisma, as you're seeing here. So it'll finish off as a solid 32 here by the time we're done with the gear that we have on. Solid upgrade. Now let's actually finish this puppy off, can we? You'll see the skills as we do this too. That's why we won't talk about skills just yet. So again, here's our chance to get our last feats. Notice, because we are not a human stock person, whether it's half elf, half orc, human, Aasimar, or tiefling, we don't get free spells per level up. We only get skills or HP for picking this as our favorite class, which is kind of suck, but I'm willing to suck that up because we're still doing fine. I'm going to always put perception up, always get world up, and then, because those are your main 2 in my opinion, and then we kind of spread things around for lore, religion, persuasion, and if I have a 3rd point, which I almost always do, I do use magic device. Whenever I don't have a 3rd point, use magic device is the one that falls behind, because it's not as important. And again, with that green check mark, that gives a lot of juice. Until that time, think of it right now, it's at a plus 22, but without that green check mark, that trait that I picked up a while back, it would be at an 18, and that's lame. Okay, so this is a solid upgrade. Notice that we, despite having only invested a point and 3 points in athletics and mobility, and again, my staple reason for this, A, fighting defensively still benefits from this, and B, why not be more mobile? Remember, you are a halfling after all. You get a bonus for being sure-footed. Notice I'm wearing a piece of gear that also buffs it as well, not to mention all the dexterity buffs we have besides. So we're still doing okay. Once I cast Airwalk on myself, though, this goes up another 10 points. So we're going to do much better than you think. So again, a solid upgrade. Athletics, despite only investing a point in it, we're doing fine, quite frankly. Sure-footed bonus, it's a class skill. Our strength is going up the more we cast spells to buff ourselves. Like I said, strength is going to overshadow dexterity, so this will be actually better than you think. It's not amazing, I'll grant you, but again, why invest in it when I can invest in so many more important things? The downside of this build, in my opinion, is that perception is straight up suck. We don't have a very good wisdom. Matter of fact, we have a bad wisdom because I've penalized it at the beginning of the game. But you do have a racial bonus. So again, the keen senses go a long way to help out. Having said that, it would have been nice to get a green check mark here. We could have done that with a trait, but then we miss out on something else. So I'm just like, I'm always going to invest in it, so I don't mind so much. And there's a spell that we can cast called Find Traps, which we got early on, that will give you a +1 for every 2 caster levels you have. So we're level 21 by the end of this build, holding that kick-ass rod of flaming staff, whatever. So that means that we get +10 here. So this 23 is a lot better than you think. We just have to pre-buff up. So you're fine. I'm not worried about that. And you're still on a team with this build. So again, you don't have to be the most perceptive person in the world. I think it's a solid choice though. Now, feat-wise, let's do the Flame Revelation just to show you the last 2. Here's our Firestorm. And this Firestorm, by the way, is different than the spell Firestorm. Well, how does it differ? Well, this Firestorm, the spell, does 1d6 of damage per caster level, maximum 20d6. Unless we intensify it, with this little doodad here, I believe I can get this up to 25 d6. There's a trick around this. 21, because remember, thanks to that Rod of Flaming Vengeance, blah, 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 I get a +1 to all my spells caster levels. So that's why this is technically can get to 21. However, there's another piece of gear that I could be using, and I'll show it to you in a moment, where I could have 4 more caster levels added to specific fire spells, which means this could be technically 25 d6. This is actually a big boon for you if that's something you're interested in. Creatures that fail their reflex save catch on fire, and again do 4d6 of damage per round. Now that's all well and good in a solid spell. Look at this one though as a spell-like ability. 1d6 of damage per level, so again 20d6 max, and again maybe it'll get to 21, but I doubt it because this is not a spell. This is a spell-like ability, so I don't think that our Rod of Fiery Vengeance benefits us in this regard. But notice this last part. This fire lasts for a number of rounds equal to your charisma modifier. Not anything to do with 1 to 4 rounds. Your charisma modifier. And in our case, our charisma modifier is stacked through the goddamn roof. By the time this build's done, it'll be a solid +11 with all the gear that I have on me. That's a solid upgrade. And again, that's 11 rounds of them catching on fire. That's awesome. So again, that's a pretty decent upgrade in my opinion. But again, on you. So I don't mind taking this one as my point. Wings of Fire, again, this one here, you move faster. It's just like the Wings spell. You have to use it in 1 minute increments, 1 per caster level. But you have to be level 7 before you pick this up, so it'll be, as soon as you pick it up, it'll be down here. This one's not bad, but again, like I said, we have spell-like abilities that almost mimic this. The only real benefit from that one is the speed, the +3 or +30 ground speed per round. So if you want it, hey, take it. I don't think it's worth it myself. And again, if I don't want Cinder Dance, why would I want this thing? Again, I have stuff that counters it. It's so much better in my opinion. But up to you. But those are the ones, like I said, that I can deal without. So we're talking Cinder Dance would probably go the way of the Dodo. Wings of Fire, I wouldn't pick it. And probably Heat Aura would probably be the other one that I'd kick to the curb. And I keep all the other ones, including this one. This one is good. It's just you have to work with it. Now for our last feat, and again, remember, because of what I just suggested to you, these 8 that we've picked, 2 of them would go the way of the Dodo. The other 6 would be down here. That means we have 2 more feats to play with, and this 3rd one here. That leaves you a lot of shit. Notice that we've picked up Precise Shot, Rapid Shot, Deadly Aim, Meta Magic Extend, because again, we are a buffer. Why not buff yourself for a lot of the stuff for long lasting? Yes, this one can extend fire spells, but not every spell. So again, this is still useful to you. And again, remember, you are a spontaneous caster, so that means anything that we meta magic up this way, not these, but this way, means that we have to take a full round, to cast it. But that's perfect for us, because we're going to use those to buff ourselves up anyway. Who gives a shit if I'm taking a full 6 seconds of to give myself, Shield of Faith or whatever else that I want to extend? That's perfectly fine. You will happily do that, in my opinion. You'll buff up to the 9s with all kinds of buffs and run into battle after that. And after that, you'll use your normal spells, probably, and therefore not have to burn a full round on doing this shit. We've got Cluster Shots, an amazing feat that allows you to really whoop up some damage on the target that's resistant, as you'll see with these trolls we're about to kick their ass on. Additional traits, we've already picked that, and again, like I said, 3 more to pick from. What could you pick that are 3 more things? There's a lot of shit in here, man. And again, if we're going ranged, there's plenty of range stuff still left out there to have fun with. But I get like a weapon focus. I didn't pick any weapon focus in any of the ranged weapons. That could be a longbow, short bow, or of course my sling staff, which why wouldn't you? So again, you could do that. You could grab yourself not armor focus because you're not using armor. You can get things though like Cautious Fighter. You are a halfling after all, so if you ever fight defensively, another +2 to your armor. We can do Combat Casting, Combat Expertise. You can do Dodge. We didn't get in the build yet, so that's a solid upgrade for you. We can get Elemental Focus, which is what I am going to get for fire spells. +1 to the DC check of all your fire spells. Why wouldn't you want that? Again, I could have grabbed Spell Focus Evocation, because many, if not all, but many of the fire spells are evocation spells. So this is a solid upgrade because that buffs every evocation spell you have for DC checks. That's awesome. But again, on you. But again, you had 3 to play with. There's a lot that you could have played with that I would have been pretty happy with. Quite frankly, I could have taken Elemental Focus Fire, greater elemental focus fire, and probably spell focus evocation, just to be complete and utter jackass, because we have so many fire spells that are evocation spells. Why not have all of them hit with a +3 DC check? And then with that rod in your hand, it's another +3. That's a +6 to the DC check of those fire spells that are evocation spells. That's an amazing FU to the bad guys. And again, you have access to level 1 through 9 spells. So this is a solid choice. Level 8 and 9. You can pick, notice that we have Firestorm with a thumbs down here. Why is it not picked? It actually was picked. It was given to you free at level 7. See it here? That's why it's giving you the thumbs down. Yes, you could pick it again. Yes, you could have it, I believe, at level 8. Why would you want it twice like that? I don't know. And again, that's okay, because this one has 1 or more rounds for a duration. I don't think we can extend this one, but we can check once we get into the game. Storm bolts if you want, excuse me, storm bolts if you want damage. We have these auras, Holy Aura, Shield of Law, Cloak of Chaos. I do like these. Death Clutch is another solid choice. But again, if you want raw damage, there's nothing wrong with a different type of damaging attack like that Storm bolts. Again, that's solid damage. And again, that rod will turn every damage into fire damage. So this is not just electric now, it'll be fire later. But it's not a fire spell per se. More on that later. Having said that, I'm going to take the Holy Aura because it's extra protection. It does not last long, but it is important to have it. Notice we have Fiery Body for free. Energy Drain is a nice ray spell. Again, you are a ray caster type. Let's heal the team for a change. Coming down with 020. Last Revelation. Boom. Skills. Thank you. Last Charisma. Nice solid stat there. Buff here. Buff there. And there and there. Now we're done. Okay, that's how I level this guy up. So 1, 3, 20, 18, 20, 18, 10. Okay? Solid upgrade. And again, we always take a free skill point. Since we couldn't grab free spells, I highly recommend free skills. Notice that we can respec out spells as we level up. And I recommend you do so. When you look at my build, you'll see many things that are like resist energy, but I also have resist energy communal. Well, those are redundant, right? Well, yes, but I can't recycle this one back in. But I grabbed protection from energy sooner than later. And then as soon as protection from energy communal showed up, I picked it. And then as soon as I could respec out of protection from energy, the single version, I did so. So I figured, well, we're not a healer type. We are a buffer type. We are helping the team stay alive. So here you go. You know, delayed poison, and then delayed poison communal came along, and then we recycled out delayed poison. It was a way for me to get extra spells back. And again, still help the team, because you are a teammate build. So we could recycle out spells. So just to take a look at the spells that we've picked, in general, there's nothing in here anymore that I want to recycle out. I have everything that I want. Again, there's stuff that I recycled out earlier, but I will keep all my spells at this point. Last spell pick. Overwhelming Presence is a nice AoE one for scaring the shit out of bad guys. Wisdom Drain as well. Summon Monster is always a staple. Summon Monster 9, no less. Literally a solid upgrade. Polar Midnight, though, for some decent cold damage in an AoE format. Dex penalties as well. Solid upgrade. And again, with our rod, that should turn it into fire damage, which is just super funny, because it's would be fire damage every round for 20 rounds. So 5d6, 5d6, 5d6. It just basically screws them over. So trap them in a web spell and then set them on fire, which is just good battle tactics always. And of course our final revelation. Now, we have... I need to take a knee here first. F10, Bag of Tricks, Rest. Rest, close. Okay. First... I want to activate my ring. My ring is already on. See that? Ring of Circumstances. +1 to DC checks of all spells. +1 to armor class. +1 to charisma, which is also a bonus to your DC checks. +2 to dexterity. So again, another bonus to armor class, as well as your reflex saves. So again, lots and lots of bonuses here. Love that ring. That always goes on my main character. Other stuff besides. But the real reason that I want to point out the gear to you is not just the fanciness of the way I've done this build. It's that if all you really care about is charisma and dexterity, really, and maybe some strength so that you can hit stuff, and again, we grab those Star Soldier gauntlets for this reason, that leaves you a lot of leeway. We're not worrying about armor. We're not worrying about, you know, do I have the best, ring of protection and all that other shit, because we have spells that cover that. So what can I do with the other gear slots that are available to me? How about grabbing gear that makes you immune to things? I'm immune to blind. I'm immune to dazzle. I have a ring here that makes me immune to curses. I have, or I could have had a ring that makes me continuously under a blur effect. I could have given myself freedom of movement by wearing the right ring. Given me evasion feat for free by wearing a ring. And again, on and on it goes. I have one here that makes me immune to poison for a build. It's a bonus to my dex and my con. Again, dex that I cared about. Con is nice, but it wasn't necessary, per se. I'll take it. So again, if you do this proper, this gives you a lot of leeway for what you're going to have on your person. But I still maintain that with this wearing no armor at all, the bracers of armor +8, as soon as you can find them, are worthwhile. We do not have weapon finesse. That's something else we could have grabbed, those last 3 feats that we talked about. Obviously, you'd want that sooner than later. But we did not go that route because, again, we really are a range-based attacker, in my opinion. So I didn't even bother. I mean, why burn a feat on something that you're never going to pick up that weapon? You're always going to melee, or you're always going to range. In my case, we're always going to range. So, get into it. We'll show you some troll fighting and show you some tricks here with our stuff. Because we mentioned that Sense Vitals trick that you can do with Lesser Miracle, there's something else I want to demonstrate to you, too. Not demonstrate so much as read off to you. Brother Mutant wrote shit down. You're in trouble now. Alright, so for Lesser Miracle, I mentioned in a previous video, since you have access to Lesser Miracle in these builds, and in one case you have access to Miracle, the Life Mystery has access to Miracle, they get it for free, which is free amazeballs. You have access to a lot of spells you normally do not have access to, and it's worth mentioning that list. I'm not going to read you the list, but what I am going to do is I am going to tell you several spells at each level that are of interest to me. For instance, level 1. You have access to a spell called Fairy Fire. This is one of the druid spells, or possibly a cleric spell. No, it's not a cleric spell, although we would have had it, but it's a druid spell for sure. Ranger spell as well, I believe. And this is one that is very similar to Glitter Dust in that it takes invisible targets and stealth targets and lights them up like a Christmas tree. In this case, instead of coating them with glitter dust, they get set on fire with a non-damaging fire aura. So it lights them up again like a Christmas tree, literally. But the reason Fairy Fire is interesting here is Fairy Fire is only one of those two that makes their displacement, their concealment bonus, the 50% or the 20% from blur, go away. So this is a way of if someone's, like specifically if for example, you're fighting them goddamn spiders that like to disappear, the phase spiders or whatever the hell they're called. Those little bastards are hard to hit. And whether it's melee or range, they're still hard to hit because of that 50% chance to miss. Light them up with a Fairy Fire spell. Again, Lesser Miracle gives you access to that. That's a reason to mention it. Notice that we also had access to things like Mage Armor, Grease Spell, Shield. Again, another amazing spell. Remember, I'm not using a shield in this build. I'm using a two-handed weapon. So I have no choice. Even if I wasn't using this, I'd be using a bow. So again, I don't have the ability to use a shield in this build. So, shield spell, baby, that's a +4 armor class. You don't think I don't want that? You know I want that shit. Level 2 stuff that was of interest. Again, we mentioned Glitter Dust, but here it is again. So level 2, Glitter Dust, Acid Arrow, Heroism, Whole Person, Whole Animal, Bark Skin is in here. Bestow Grace. Now this is a Paladin spell that is like the Bestow Grace of the Champion that we get later. Except this one lasts longer. It's like a minute per caster level. You don't have to have a specific alignment at all. And this one allows you, again, to get your Charisma modifier for your saves, like a Paladin gets. The Bestow Grace of the Champion, the better version, you have to be lawful good. It doesn't last as long. I think it's 1 round per caster level. I can't remember off the top of my brain. But that one also gives you your Charisma modifier for your 3 saves, which is awesome. It also gives you immunity to disease and fear as a true Paladin. So that one's great. This one's still good. And I like that that's on my list. Notice that we have things like Protection from Arrow, Blur, Mirror Image, Find Traps, Sense Vitals. Again, there's a lot of shit in here that's for free if you use your Lesser Miracle spell to pick it. Haste for level 3. Slow, of course, as well. Another stuff that sticks out, Battering Blast for ray spells. You have a solid Raycaster build here. Why not go crazy? Call Lightning's on this list. Fireball and Lightning Bolt if you didn't have access to Fireball. Lightning Bolt for sure. Other stuff that was interesting, Life Blast, Vampiric Touch. There's a laundry list, but there's another really good buff spell in here called Good Hope. This is a, I keep saying Ranger, it's not Ranger, it's not a Rogue. It's a Bard. It's a Bard spell. Good Hope is like Heroism, but better. like a +2 to all kinds of things. Your swing, your skills, your saves, your damage, just random awesome shit. And it's not just you, it's teammate buff. It's a AoE. Massively good, and it lasts for like, I want to say, a minute per caster level. So we're doing a solid 21-minute buff at the end of this build with the right gear. Amazing, amazing spell. Other stuff for level 4 that was of interest. That's the Bestow Grace of the Champion again is in there. We had Inspiring Recovery. Acid Pit was useful. Blessing of the Salamander if you want to regenerate damage. We had Stone Skin. Greater Invis. Controlled Fireball. Emergency Force Sphere. And again, this is not the whole list. This is just some that stick out in my brain. Dimension Doors in there. So if I didn't have the ability to teleport, I do with Lesser Miracle. Going on to level 5 stuff that you had access to. You have access to stuff like Raised Dead, Vine Trap, Cleanse, Genie Kind, Summon Monster 5, as well as the Summon Nature's Ally 5. Those were always available 1 through 6. Summon Monster spells. But again, 3 on up are usually the ones that I give a damn about. But the Summon Nature's Ally gave you a whole different list of pets out on the battlefield. And again, some of those pets are pretty badass because they get multiple attacks. Like the leopards, they get like, instead of 1 attack, they get like 5 swipes or some shit. They go crazy on your ass. So again, decent upgrades. On level 6, fine example of ones that you want. Legendary Proportions, key and foremost, and I will show you that one, as well as Transformation. Amazing spells. Why? Big bonuses to strength, armor, your attack bonus besides. So again, both of those are stellar. And if you watch my previous video, you saw me get really frustrated over the fact that there is a spell that we have access to called, let me find it for you, Frightful Aspect. That gives you a massive size increase bonus to strength and con, natural armor, as well as some resistance and other aura stuff as well. It does not stack with me turning into a dragon. And I was quite pissed because I'm like, I thought those stacked. Well, it does not. That seemed weird to me, and I remembered that it worked. And I'm like, well, maybe it's the Eldritch Arcana mod. Goddamn mod. Fucking shit up. But it's just this spell doesn't work with it. Any spell that transforms you. Again, we have... show it to you. You have the ability to turn into this fiery monstrosity, this elemental body for fire. This thing isn't the one that literally turns you into a giant elemental, right? So that's a polymorph spell. That's a polymorph bonus to your dex, your strength, your con. And that should stack with stuff that's not a polymorph bonus. Well, remember, that spell we just talked about is a size bonus. So I said it should stack. It will not. Again, for whatever reason, this one plays not nice with other polymorph spells. Even though it's clearly a size bonus category. And we know it's a size bonus category because when you cast this spell on yourself, which I will in a moment, you'll see in the strength category, it says size plus 6 strength. So not polymorph, but for whatever reason, this one gets wiped the moment you change into something else. So whether we're talking about Dragon Kind 1, 2, or 3, or the one we talk about, the Elemental Body 1, 2, 3, or 4, they don't play nice with others. The one that does play nice with others is Legendary Proportions. It is a size bonus as well. It's exact same bonuses as this guy, with the one exception of, instead of DR10 magic, you get DR10 / adamantine or some shit like that. So it's still different but good. And it lasts just as long. You need a dinosaur bone to cast that spell, by the way. And you do need, I should say, material components for spells that you're casting from Lesser Miracle. Lesser Miracle doesn't require components, but the spell you're turning it into might. So make sure you're packing that diamond dust, the diamonds, the dinosaur bones with you, person, if that's something of interest to you. But the point is, you can cast Frightful Aspect, and you can cast Legendary Proportions on yourself. They will not really stack because they're both plus 6 size bonus to strength. It's just the best one. Plus 4 size bonus to con. It's just the best one. There's no spell resistance on Legendary Proportions. There is DR10 / adamantine on it, and again, it doesn't stack, but it layers. What do I mean by layers? Well, is it a magic weapon? Yes. Well, then it'll go through this guy's DR10 magic, as you see. If it's DR10 / adamantine, which again, Legendary Proportions has, and it's not an adamantine weapon, I still have DR10 against that physical impact. Is it an adamantine weapon? Well, then it goes through Legendary Proportions DR10. But is it a magic adamantine weapon? If it's not, this one still protects me. That's why I say it's layers. Okay, it's not stacking. It's not 10 and 10. It's not 20. It's just literally 10 almost all the time. And there's another spell that we have access to that gives us like a DR10 / evil That's this guy right here. And it lasts for a decent amount of time. This is why we picked it. As well as the immunity to acid and cold, because awesome. But again, plenty of good stuff from this spell. Combine this with Frightful Aspect and Legendary Proportions, and you have basically DR10, period, from physical attacks. Why? Because the chances that it's a magic adamantine weapon is a thing, but the chances it's a magic adamantine evil weapon is probably not a thing. So again, you always have some level of protection, which is always key to me for a defense-based build like this one. Now, having said all those cool things, Legendary Proportion is a staple in my mind. Hence the reason that Lesser Miracle has access to it as a level 6 spell. Happily will take that one. Notice that, of course, the Transformation is on that list, also at level 6. That's the one that you can't cast spells anymore. But once you cast that bastard, you better have all your buffs on you, and you will go to town just wreaking unholy hell and havoc. So let's start casting some spells so you can get a feel for what we're talking about. So first things first, we need to put things where they belong. Let's get this crap out of here. You don't need to be in there. We already got our ring buffs going. I always have my rapid shot / deadly aim down here, my togs. And we will slop these guys out of here and put the proper stuff in. I will leave the Rod of Flaming Vengeance in here because, again, it can be turned on or shut off. Doesn't matter if it's off. It still does its job of turning everything into fire damage. But let's put our Burning Hands. This is the spell-like ability, Burning Hands. This is our Heat Aura, which I'll show it to you because it sucks. This is the Touch of Flame, which sucks, but again, you need it to turn your weapon into a fire damage weapon. Any weapon that you're wielding. I mean, that literally turns all your arrows, bolts, sling bolts, bullets, whatever you were talking about, into fire damage as well. So 1d6 extra. Just saying, that's kind of nice. This is our Elemental Body 4. We'll show you that one. This is our Laser Beam that comes from our Star Soldier Gauntlets. Here's our Firestorm spell-like ability that we got for Revelation. Well, that's pretty awesome. And what else do we want to slap down in here? I'm going to take the Fire Beam. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that over here. And I'm going to put these 3 togs. Boom, boom, boom. And again, these are the ones that allow you for any fire spell to extend it, or intensify it, or reach it. And I don't think you can do more than one. So I think I just turn on the one that I want. And there are some fire spells that have a duration. So let's actually look at our spell book. Ignore all the inflict spells because, again, you're going to get them at every level. And if you went cure, you will not get the inflict ones. You'll get the cure ones. You could pick the other. I did not, but you could. So if you want inflict and cure, you can do so. Notice we've got Burning Hands for free. Got that literally at level 1. Notice we have Snowball for free. We got that for that trait. Shield of Faith, Bless, Divine Favor. Fire Belly is a fire spell, so it has a duration. At least I think it's a fire spell, so it should double the duration, but I might be mistaken on that. It doesn't say fire in the descriptor, though. See, that's the thing I'm looking for here. So while it's clearly a fire damaging spell, it may not be categorized as one. That's why I say it's kind of iffy. Ray of Sickening, because, you know, you're a Ray caster. Why the hell not? Resist Energy for free. Scorching Ray, Burning Arc, we got those for free. Both fire spells, clearly. Spell Descriptor Fire, Spell Descriptor Fire. Amazing spells. I grabbed every restoration spell, so Lesser Restoration and Greater Restoration were picked up for you. Arrow of Law, I figure why not get another Ray spell. It's not amazing damage, but again, it's cool. And it has a decent range. Oh no, it doesn't. It's close range. My bad. Thought it was medium. Whatever. Find Traps for that obvious bonus to your perception. And again, it's not just for finding traps. It's basically any perception check. So if you're looking for magic gear that's on the ground, this will give you a bonus to finding it. So if you're looking for traps, it'll find those, obviously, too. If you're looking for a secret door, it's a perception check. This buffs your perception indiscriminately. So this is an amazing spell, in my opinion. Weapon of Awe. Figure why not? Bonus damage, yes please. Lasts a decent amount of time. Sounds good. And if I crit with them, which I'm not likely to do with the Sling Staff, remember, most of your ranged weapons are usually a nat 20 to crit. So this one's going to be a nat 20 as well. But when I do crit, why not shaking the target for a round with no saving throw? That sounds like fun to me. Bone Shaker for an auto hit move sounds good. And again, with our Rod of Flaming Vengeance, that will turn into fire damage. So an auto hit fire damage spell, that shit's funny. Delay Poison Communal. Again, we had Delay Poison in here, and then we upgraded later to Delay Poison Communal, and then we recycled Delay Poison into one of these other spells. Fireball, free, Infliction, Pain, Magical Vestment for some armor protection. Remember, you're wearing robes. That still counts as armor. Something's in that slot. You have to wear something. If you're wearing something, you can give yourself a +1 all the way up to a +5 armor, which we will do. And again, this stacks with the Braces of Armor class +8, so that works beautifully for us. Resist energy communal, and again, if I could have swapped this one out, I would have, but again, this was a freebie. Because it's a freebie, you cannot swap it out. Then we have Searing Light, and again, it's not a fire spell. I keep thinking it is based on the name, but it's not. It's divine damage. Still a solid ray spell though. 4, Wall of Fire for free, twice, no less, but you only need it once, obviously. Protection from energy communal, and again, we had the original version. Once we got this one, we swapped out the other one and picked up something else, probably like Searing Light. Divine Power, amazing spell, solid damage upgrade. Shield of Dawn, a fire spell, good fire spell no less, and again, 1 die of damage. So with those 3 different pieces of gear on me, that 1d6 gives me 1d6 plus 3, plus 15. So literally be 1d6 plus 18 damage every time they hit me. Which, again, you're at range. That doesn't mean they're not going to try to melee your ass. And you will have a good armor, so you can toe-to-toe them, those son of a bitches, even with doing range attacks and spells and no less. But again, I did appreciate the fact that we're setting them on fire for extra damage. Notice we have Airwalk Communal, and again, we grabbed the original version here, and then once we got this, we swapped out. This one is definitely worth doing because it's a solid duration, unlike the other ones, like this guy here, which is like crap, 10-minute buff, or this one here, excuse me, which again is a 10-minute buff. This one's not bad. It's an hour. It's not an hour per caster level, but it's a solid hour, so I don't mind Delayed Poison Communal. But I like this one because it gives you 10 minutes per level still, so that's pretty sweet. And that's for you and the team, or anyone within a range of you, obviously. The +3 dodge bonus to armor, melee armor class is nice. Immunity to difficult terrain. Again, I said that I didn't need my extra ground speed ability because I got immunity to difficult terrain from this thing. +10 mobility skills as well. Just no increased speed. That's the only real downside of these ones. Firebreath for free. True Seeing is a solid spell. Flamestrike, again, picked that one up for obvious reason. It is considered a fire spell, even though it's fire damage and divine damage. That 15d6 can be intensified to 20d6 when that one little toggle. Spell resistance, solid spell for you for some buffage. Or for anyone on your team, by the way, because that's not just self-only, that's any target. We have Eagle Soul, amazing spell. Again, you want to be good for this one to reap the benefits without any penalties. But a solid bonus to armor, to strength, so some acid and fire resistance, which I don't care particularly about the fire, but acid is nice. Again, a bonus to persuasion to intimidate. And while you say, well, this is not an intimidation build, we're not Cornigan smashing it, doing dreadful carnage or anything like that. Yeah, but you still have intimidation checks in the game. So if you know that that's coming up, buff up with that shit, go into that conversation, and then when the intimidation check comes along, you have a buff. That's a +5 to your buff. That's a solid increase to your intimidation check. Bonus to initiative, and you regenerate damage. And my favorite part, anytime you could critical hit an evil target, you automatically crit. You actually confirm it by default, which is awesome. Summon a huge elemental, fire elemental, that was free. Hellfire Ray, that was not free. Pick it up, it's amazing. This is one of those spells that's just amazing, but it's not considered fire. So as weird as it is, so I don't think this gets any bonus from our fire stuff. It's got evil in the spell descriptor. Cold Ice Strike, again, cold spell, but again, we can turn it into fire, but that doesn't mean we can intensify it, because it's still considered the cold descriptor. It's just the rod turning it into fire damage. But we can do 15d6 of damage with this bastard as a swift action, which is why you love this one. And then from there, you can attack like normal with your staff, or cast another spell, or cast the same spell again. Just bam, bam, and it's fire damage. And 15d6, because it's fire damage, the staff in your hand, the necklace, and the robe turns that into 15d6 plus 15, plus 15, plus 15. So plus 45 more damage. So a minimum of 60, a maximum of 135. That's some freaking powerful shit to be slinging out in AoE format as a swift action. I'm just saying. I like that. I thought that was cool. Now again, if you want cold damage, you have to take that rod off. Just put it back in your pack, which you can do in combat. It's not a problem. Lesser Miracle, yes please. Definitely want that. Notice that we can extend this one. We have Metamagic Extend, so anything with a pip on it lets you know that we can actually make it as a different category, which I would highly recommend you do for all your spells as you level up. I'm not going to do it for all of them, but just to point out to you that I have now 8 uses a day of Lesser Miracle. And oh look, I got 7 more uses a day of Lesser Miracle. So I got 15 castings of a badass spell. Just saying. From here, there's your Firestorm. Notice the again, the damage, the lame damage after they set them on fire. Just still solid choices. And again, because it's fire damage with all the gear we have on us, this part at least will get buffed. I don't know about that part. But still solid damage. And it's teammate friendly, which you gotta love that shit. Notice, of course, our Delayed Blast Fireball we got for free. Solid upgrade. Again, 20d6 of damage. Remember, there's gear that I can show you that can push you to 25 caster levels for certain spells. This may be one of them. And if that's the case, then this could do 25d6 of damage. If that's intensified, in which we can do as with that little toggle. Greater Restoration, Umbral Strike. It's not fire damage, but it will be when we're using it out with that rod in our hand. And that's 20d6 of damage times 20 times 3, so 20d6 plus 60. Just god-awful damage with that beam. And again, this is the one that's medium range. That's the one I was thinking of. Solid spell. And again, ignores blur, so the 20% concealment, not total concealment, not the 50% from displacement or greater invis. But for anything else, it ignores it. Just a straight up 20% chance. Nope, don't have to even worry about it. Just hit them with this beam. Amazing. And again, does blind them if they fail their save, which is pretty damn cool. Sadly, this is the one that I keep thinking is a cold spell because it does cold damage / negative energy damage. No, it's not. It doesn't consider it cold. It doesn't flag it as cold. And it is important for that because, again, if you try to get Elemental Focus cold, that would not buff the DC check of that spell. This one would only buff off of Necromancy. Frightful Aspect, amazing buff, as we know. Again, doesn't stack with those weird polymorph spells, so be aware of that. That was my mistake, and it's not my mistake so much as I just didn't realize that was an issue. But the other ones, as I mentioned, like Legendary Proportions, Righteous Might, which we didn't pick, are solid upgrades as well, and they do stack, I believe. So, Incendiary Cloud, again, has the same picture as Firestorm, so don't confuse the two. But Incendiary Cloud is a solid spell. Damage over time, 66 of damage, and remember with the stuff that we have on us, this should buff up to 66 plus 18 per round of damage. That's pretty freaking solid damage in my opinion. You cannot intensify this, I don't think. If it did, it would only last longer. So you might as well, instead of extending it for 5 rounds, you might as well or intensifying it where it lasts 5 rounds longer, you might as well just extend it so it lasts for double the duration, in my opinion. But basically, it's an amazing spell. AoE, trap them in it and just set them on fire and just walk away from them. Angelic Aspect for protection. This one is weird in that some of the protection you don't really get unless it's an evil target, so like your deflection bonus and your resistance. So you may say, who gives a shit why even use this? Well, A, you do because it lasts a long period of time, and B, many things are evil, but not everything. And C, this stuff does work for everything. So DR10 / evil, that's an evil weapon hitting you, right? If it's an evil weapon, it penetrates. If not, then you got DR10, baby, against physical attacks. You're immune to acid and cold. It doesn't matter if it's an evil acid or cold, it's just that it's acid or cold. And a resistance of fire and electricity of 10. And again, the fire I could care less about, but the electricity, that's a nice bonus. And a racial bonus to saves against poison. Now remember, you have a racial bonus right now to all your saves thanks to being a halfling. So this would not stack with it, because if they're both racial, again, you only get 1. But against poison, would you rather it be +1 or +4? I'd rather it be +4. So again, you can see the appeal here. So this is still a solid spell in my opinion, and the one that seals up the gap for the, against evil, this is nice, but against everything else, you suck. That's what Holy Aura is for. If it's not evil, you see that your armor's sucking because you don't have any deflection bonus, which you should, because you should cast Shield of Faith. But if you forgot, you have Holy Aura, or what's the other one? The one for the law. There's one for chaos. There's one for evil, which is the Unholy Aura. So again, pick one of those 4. I went with this one because if again they're evil, they get screwed over even more. But even if they're not evil, this is the best part right here. Each warrior creature gains +4 deflection to armor class and resistance to saves. Unlike protection from evil or angelic aspect, it doesn't matter what their alignment is. You just get a flat +4 deflection and a +4 bonus to all your saves. That's nice. It sadly does not last long. Hence the reason for wanting to extend meta magic, right? So again, I will take this one and I would make it the extended version. And if I really know that I'm going to want it for a solid battle or 2, I'm going to cast this version and not the level 8 one. Just saying. That's the reason I went that route. Other things, again, Energy Drain, Fiery Body. Again, this one is amaze balls. Lasts a long time. It only casts on you. You can still cast spells in this effect. You're immune to fire damage for 1, and if you weren't already. And any fire damage that would come your way, instead of taking damage, you would heal 1/3 of the damage. So if it did 60 damage, and this could be from you could spam Fireball at your feet. Not controlled Fireball, because it won't damage you, remember? But Fireball at your feet could do 60 damage max, right? Let's just say. So 60 damage divide that by 3, 20. You could heal 20 hit points every time you did this. And in a circle, damage everyone around you at the same time. Just blam, blam, blam. This is an amazing upgrade for you. Notice it gives you a massive bonus to dexterity as a +6, but it's an enhancement bonus. Now again, we have a +8 belt right now. That doesn't mean you have it by the time you pick up this spell. So if you don't have a +6 item for your dexterity by this point, use this spell until you get that +6 or better. At least you have +6 dexterity. Just saying. Notice that you get extra damage for unarmed attacks. This one almost smacks to me of you want to go monk. Because again, you get to fight unarmed as if you are armed. And that's important because if you do not have improved unarmed strikes, which monks get for free at level 1, you can pick up as a feat. If you don't have that though, then anytime you try to brawl in this game, you're considered not wielding a weapon. As such, you are subject to attacks of opportunity. So that sucks. So how do you get around it? Cast a spell on you, and again, you're considered armed. That's what that means. So you literally can brawl with your fists if you wanted to, and be perfectly fine and never provoke an attack of opportunity from that anyway. And it gives an extra 3d6 of fire damage per punch, which is freaking cool. So when you're monking it up and you get that extra attack around from flurry of blows, this thing really can land some serious crunching number damage on the bad guys. Throw on some Sense Vitals love for some sneak attack damage as well, and holy hell, the numbers just start streaming off the bad guys. Then my favorite part of this spell, every fire spell, quote unquote fire spell, has to be a fire spell that has a DC check, gets a +1 to its DC check. So basically it's like elemental focus fire for free. Poof. Here you go. And again, we picked up that as a feat too, so it stacks. So again, this really lends itself to being a badass. Heal the team, heal yourself after combat or just before combat to make sure everyone's topped off. Figured it made sense. Polar Midnight, damaging spell, dexterity penalties besides. Solid upgrades. So let's actually buff up and have some fun. Alright, I am going to put just some solid buff spells over here. Not going to worry about the ones that, again, I would put this over here, but I'm not. I know these guys aren't going to cast those types of spells. Same with Fine Traps. I could put it over here. I'm not going to bother. Weapon buff, though, I'll put over there. I'll put over Magical Vestment. Notice I did not take Effortless Armor, by the way. What's the need? I'm wearing robes all the damn time. Now, yeah, early on, maybe. That could be another spell you could have swapped out later. Don't need that. Do want Divine Power? Yes, please. I will take Shield of Dawn because it's a fire spell, and I want to show you that. I'll take that Airwalk. And True Seeing. Spell Resistance. And give me some of that Eagle Soul, baby. This is some of the Huge Elemental. Just want to make sure it wasn't this guy. That's our Lesser Miracle. Oh, hell yeah, I want that. And I'm going to put this twin right next to it. What was that? I have... No. Okay. 8. Frightful Aspect, sure. Greater Angelic Aspect, sure. Unholy Aura, sure. And matter of fact, I'm going to swap it out for the longer lasting one. And of course, Fiery Body. Now, having said that, let's go through the list and work our way from bottom to top for stuff that's fire type stuff. Here we go. Fire Belly, maybe. Definitely want both those. This one, that Fireball. Now this one, again, it's not a fire spell, so don't think it is. It's fire now because I have that rod. That rod right there, remember, turns everything into fire damage. If it does damage, it's fire damage. There are exceptions to the rule on that one, like acid, cloud, or fog, or whatever the hell it's called. I don't think works. Wall fire. I already have that on my list. Fire Snake, there you go. Flamestrike, give me some of that. Let's throw out Hellfire Ray, and it's not fire damage, that's why I need to prove that to you. Here's our Fire Storm, Delayed Blast Fireball, and Incendiary Cloud, and Fiery Body we already have. Okay, so that'll get us started. Now, in any situation where you're going to have chance to pre-buff up, Shield of Faith, an obvious +5 to your deflection bonus. And yes, I have spells that are going to give me a +4. Wouldn't you rather have the +5 and have it last for 21 minutes Yes, I do. Hence the reason you cast it. Now again, you can cast it on your team if you so choose. That's on you. But at the very least, I'm going to be selfish and at least cast it on myself. And you have that from level 1 on up. Bless as well. Solid buff to your swing. And again, we're considered caster level 21 because of that rod. So you're seeing that every buff is getting slightly better. Divine Favor. I could cast it on myself. It only lasts for a minute. So until you get Divine Power, this one's a staple. Once you get Divine Power, this one usually becomes the way of the dodo. Again, once I run out of Divine Power castings for the day, I'll switch back to this one, sure. But I'm just saying, until that time, you're using the better version. Remember, their luck bonuses, they do not stack. Weapon of Awe, though. I'll buff my weapon, sure, why not? Sadly, this does not show up in here as a buff, so you have to just trust that it's more damage. Magical Vestment, remember, it only works for the armor version. And yes, you can cast it on yourself and your team, so again, it's not just personal. Many buffs per hour. That's a maximum, best case scenario for us, +5 for 21 hours. It's a solid bonus to your armor class. Divine Power, we're definitely going to cast it. Matter of fact, did I Divine Power extend? I did not. Let me fix that real quick, guys. I'd rather have the longer version for these ones because Divine Power is kind of garbage unless you extend it. Okay, there we go. Now, let's swap that back out. It was level 4. Here's level 5. Let's get the good version in there. Okay. Takes longer to cast it because it's meta magic. Poof. Again, the reason you don't care because, again, you're doing it pre-battle. Notice double the duration. 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Why is it so long? Because I just doubled the duration. And why is it not just 4 minutes then? Because, again, we're one level higher thanks to this rod in our hand. So we're level 21 caster. That's 21 rounds normally. 42 rounds, which is what you're seeing for my buff currently. That's what just happened there. Notice this one, you'll be like, well, Brother Mutant, why didn't you make this the extended version? I did, baby. It's right there. Watch this. Field Dawn. Boom. Pow. 412. Well, 11, because, of course, the first second kicks off always. But full duration, and it's because of that toggle, and it's a fire descriptor spell. That's what the extend is used for. And again, not just that. Wall of Fire has a duration. Fiery Body is a fire spell, I believe. We can actually test that here in a minute. But that should have a duration, and therefore it should be extended. Let's grab ourselves some Airwalk Communal. This one I don't have to extend it because it already lasts plenty of time on its own. It's a solid upgrade for you and your team, in my opinion. True Seeing. This one you might want to, but again, usually the minute-long buffs per caster level, I don't try to extend them. I don't usually feel the need to. It's a solid upgrade. You will cast it on yourself, but by and large, it's kind of, you don't need to waste a higher level casting. Usually. Here's Spell Resistance. Amazing upgrade now. Here's Eagle Soul. Now this one, I should definitely upgrade. Where's that at? Level 6. Okay, let's make the upgraded version of level 6 Eagle Soul. Boom. How do that thing. Okay, spell book. And close it. So, I'm going to swap you out for the good version. And this one again. Single use on yourself only. Full round to cast it since it's extended now with meta magic. But that's a solid upgrade to strength, to armor, persuasion checks for intimidation, initiative rolls, regen, lots and lots of buffs there. Frightful Aspect, again, a minute per level. I'll just cast the regular version. Notice how I got a little taller. My weapon size category went up as well. We have Greater Angelic Aspect. And I'm missing out on Holy Aura, the extended version. Fiery Body. Bam, my ass is on fire. Oh my god, I'm on fire. Notice that we have wings. I'm assuming those wings come from the Fiery Body. I never noticed that before. So that's, again, better, because that should be better ground speed. Let's take a look at that. Nope. No ground speed. Whatever. So these seem kind of lackluster. Especially since it's basically the equivalent of Airwalk. But again, I'll take Airwalk because of the mobility bump. Look at our stats, man. Look at the stats. They're fucking just gorgeous. Now, look at what we got going on here. Strength, size bonus, sacred bonus, enhancement bonus. Okay. Notice our dex. Racial, for being halfling, of course. Circumstance from the ring, bonus from the belt. Nothing else is buffing it. So we don't have a whole lot of stuff buffing our decks. We could. I'll show you that in a bit. We have size bonus and enhancement bonus here from Devil Sash. And of course the other guys as well. So as far as physical stuff, we're doing okay for ourselves. And we still have our weapon. In case it wasn't clear, we still have our weapon. We're still attacking. And we still get an extra attack thanks to Divine Power. Another attack extra from Rapid Shot. So again, we're doing well for using a ranged weapon. So again, don't think that you're subpar. I love the little crown on her too. It looks cool. It's a solid build for what it needs to do. Look at that freaking damage. And that's mostly because your strength is fucking god-awful. Throw in, of course, deadly aim, and it just really just crunches bad guys, as you'll see. So again, even without casting spells in combat, this character will do what it's supposed to do. Hit targets hard. Now, to do it proper, it's just better if you have a teammate bust you out some pets, or have your teammates obviously run in and melee for you, so that you can literally stand behind the bad guys like you should, or the good guys like you should, and just wail on stuff.
Dispatch those fools!
Okay? So let's have everybody delay to the end. Except for me, so I can actually attack. Skeletons rush up, do their thing, get up in the front so I can have them flank, and then I can just attack with my staff and get sneak attack damage as well, which of course is always beneficial. Alright, let's do a 5-foot stutter step back and unload on who? Berserker, Veteran. The veterans, the ones that are sneak attackable, everyone else is not without special abilities. So you won't see sneak attack damage from these, even
Out
if I
of
flank
my
them.
way!
But look at the damage. Again, it's a surprise round, so only one attack. But again, they have damage reduction. This is why I like this fight, because again, with my clustered shots ability, you'll see that the first hit will always be reduced. Every hit thereafter will be full damage. So that's what clustered shots doing for you. Come and get it, coppers. If they start flanking stuff, I'll have the ability to start sneak attacking with some stuff too, which will be super nice. But again, like I said, I'm fairly certain these guys are immune to sneak attack. Could be wrong on this little guy. I'm fairly certain these two are considered barbarians, and as such, they have that natural protection from that sort of thing. So let's just try it on the big doofus here. Just solid damage. And yes, I missed on the last two. But look at those swings, man. Even on the last two, I was swinging at a 22 and a 17 with the buffs that I have on me because of Divine Power, because of Bless, because of the staff itself. And again, I did not cast every buff on myself that I could. I gave you a solid list here. But there was more that we could have done. Why? Right here, baby. Lesser Miracle. I could have had Heroism on my character. I could have had, I'm surprised, by the way, Greater Heroism doesn't show up on the list. But you could have had Heroism. That's on a +2 to your swing instead of a +1 from Bless. I could have had Good Hope. I could have had Mage Armor on myself in case I didn't have Braces of Armor class. I could have had the Shield spell for extra armor. I could have cast a Transformation to have a better Bab and just wail on these bastards. So again, I could have had all kinds of stuff that could have been better. Just saying. That's a solid attack chain. I'm happy with that. Now let's of course show you what the spells can do with that kick-ass gear that we've equipped you with, okay? Alright, we're running out of undead, so we're going to do another trick here and some more undead. But as an actual spell, not a spell like a dead. That allows them to stack them for undead monkeys, a lot of cast extras. Give me a chance to get out there and make sure that I'm always flanking these guys to keep them off my face, because this is the way the character is weak. It's not that she's susceptible to hits. I mean, she has a solid armor. It'll eventually happen, and I'll show you what she gets for an attack check. But she has solid protection. I'm not worried about that so much. It's just easier to, I don't have to constantly walk away and attack, which is just annoying. Now let's actually hit with some damage, okay? So remember, shut off your extend, turn on your intensify. Find a spell that can be intensified. You cannot intensify laser beams. You cannot intensify scorching ray, even though the game says you can't. You can't. There's not an extra beam. It's always 46 of damage per. You can, however, intensify burning arc. Boom. Let's look at that hit. 15d6 because it was intensified, plus 45. 15 from my staff in my hand, 15 from my necklace, and 15 from my rope. That's why you do this build. Okay, solid damage. And again, bounce to the guys, 76, but again, plus 21. Again, 3 times 7. So again, that still works. That's solid damage. I recommend this build highly to anyone that wants to be a damage dealer. Now, having said that, you'll notice also not only was it intensified, it was meta magic. It shot off like normal. It wasn't a 6 rounds of because these are toggles. These are not meta magics proper. So this is better than having intensified meta magic in my opinion. So let them do the thing. Did they actually go through every last one of those guys already? Holy hell. Alright. I'm going to move on up here and summon me some more Skeletors. Get back in there. Thank you. Now this guy here, he will be susceptible to sneak attacks, but he has no one flanking. These skeletons aren't on his face. He will literally take extra damage. Oh, they finally swung at me. Good. Show you that attack. This is their swing on me. A 38 BAB attack bonus. That's a solid attack bonus. And I had 52 armor. And I'm not done yet, by the way. Remember, I have a shield spell I didn't cast myself. That could be 56. I could have another natural armor bonus or 2 pushing me up into the 60s. Again, the weak part of this build is always the same. It's going to be touch armor class. Even flat-footed, I'm doing actually okay for myself. Because remember, it says 41. Remember, I'm getting half my dex bonus when I'm flat-footed. So that 41 is actually a 45, just so we're clear. And again, that's not amazing, I'll grant you, but it's better than 41. So again, we still have a solid armor. It's just when we are doing range spells, ray spells against us, or melee touch attacks against us, we are susceptible. So that's a thing. I'm going to sidestep this doofus, and let's hit him with another fire type spell. What are we going to hit him with? Let's actually do the one that converts. First, I'll show you. We have the intensified spell fire on. Notice turning it on and off has no impact on your swift actions. It's an auto move, which is beautiful. Basically, instantaneous action. So let's get that cold spell that I was bragging about. That was level 6. Cold Ice Strike. Okay? Let's hit a decent number of these bad doofuses like this. Bam! Now, that was cold damage. It should have been. Reflex save, half reflex save. Solid 31 DC check. It's an evocation spell. Remember, our rod gives us a +3 bonus to our evocation school, not fire school. Evocation spells. Solid upgrade. Now, what was the damage? 15d6 plus 45. The spell does 15d6 of damage. It's fire damage, which is why you're getting the 45. But it is a cold spell by default. Notice that it's not getting 20d6. We have the intensified on. It's not a fire spell. It's considered a cold spell. That was my point. Okay? So that's why that doesn't work. That's why that's not getting us any increase here. You can't reach it, you can't extend it to this instantaneous damage, you can't reach it because it's an AoE spell as a beam. You can't reach those. Same with like lightning bolt, you can't reach them. So again, it's one of those where you're just going to have to suck it up and do nothing. But again, that 45 extra fire damage, and it was a swift action. I could cast it again. I could cast something else. I could attack with my goddamn staff, which I will do because screw this guy. Check it. It was actually a bad round of swinging. What the hell happened here? Oh, probably because I wasn't flanking him with the skeletons. It's an extra 2 to your swing, remember, when you're flanking a target. But, again, like I said, I think you'll enjoy this build. Last couple of things just to show you. Matter of fact, let's actually hop back out to it earlier save. I want to do a couple of the lesser miracle spells. First, I need to show you the giant form. So let's do that. Again, I have pre-buffed up, as you saw. But you have this ability. Bam! Holy shit! Now notice something. 21 hours. Again, you're still considered caster level 21 for that shit, which is pretty badass. So again, 21 hours of buff. Now, pause it real quick so we're not wasting our buffs. But notice what we got there. We lost any kind of size bonus that we had from... Hell, they even took the spell away. Remember the Frightening Presence, or what the hell it's called? The one that makes you bigger and gives you a size bonus? Boom, it's gone. Same with the con bonus that it was giving you, so a +4. And then notice, this is a polymorph spell. So why is it gone? Now, maybe it's layered. Something I didn't think about until just now is maybe it's layered. So Frightful Aspect. Maybe if we cast it now that we're in this form, we'll get the bonus. Let's find out. worked. Outstanding. So that's why you would do that. Now that makes that spell, or a spell-like ability, the Elemental Body 4, Fire, much more useful. Cast that first, and then size upgrade. Okay? There we go. I do remember it working. I'm not saying I thought for sure it did. That must have just been the order of things. That's awesome. Look at that bonus. Massive bonus. Huge bonus. You're going to love it. Now this is the downside. It takes your weapon away. It takes your armor away. But again, not bracers. So your bracers still work. Our armor enhancement +5 magical armor investment. That bonus is still there. Natural armor from the elemental body form. Natural armor from the frightful aspect. Because it's not natural armor enhancement like the boots, they stack. So 4 and 6. And then another 4. So again, we have a solid armor class right now. And remember, this is not counting the extra 3 you get from, where it looks like Nikes. Airwalk, the +3 for melee attacks, dodge bonus. So again, that 56 is actually more like a 59 or better. So again, we have plenty of bonuses, is my point, for armor. Wearing nothing but robes on this build. Not monking it up or anything crazy, just from buffs. And again, we have more spells we could cast. Why not go crazy? Here you go. Lesser Miracle. What's that level 1 spell I recommended for you? Boom. Pop it off, pause the game, look up in here. This is what it looks like. Here's your pull-up tabs. Okay, these are your Transmutation Spells at level 1, Enchantment Spells, Evocation, Necro, Illusion, Conjuration, Abjuration, Divination, and every once in a while you'll see weird subcategories like Protection from Chaos Evil, Protection from Alignment, Resist Energy. Again, all those will show up like as random stuff. Why they don't fall under Abjurations, I don't know. But probably because they're pull-up tabs of their own. That's got to be what it is. That makes sense. So again, we were looking for Abjuration spell, right? And we're looking for a shield spell, please. Boom. Notice how it's instantaneous if you cast in the same combat round. If you don't, you would have saw a little timer here that says showed that you cast Lesser Miracle, and would be a 12-second pip. So 12 seconds of a timer over here. So you have this round or the next round to activate your spell. Obviously, if you're pausing it or doing turn-based combat, you'll activate it immediately. So you don't have to wait till the next round to cast your next spell, is my point. So that's solid. But that's shield. And again, that's a +4 to your armor. And remember, we're still not including our dodge, so we could be even better than that. If you don't want to do that, maybe you want to do transformation. That massive buff to yourself that... Actually, let's do legendary proportions first. Again, here is our pip. Timer countdown, that's why I paused it. Timer counting down. But again, go in here and look for the transformation spells again, or transmutation spells, excuse me. Look for legendary proportions. If you have a dinosaur bone, which apparently I do, you can cast that shit on yourself or someone else. Now let's take a look at our character now. Notice that the strength is the same, because Frightful Aspect was a size bonus as well, +6. Notice that the con bonus is the same, because Frightful Aspect was a size bonus +4, so they don't stack. It's just whichever is there first or whichever is better. We have no bonus to Dex except from our Devil Sash, our Circumstance Ring, and of course our Elemental Body 4, the Polymorph bonus. But that's a solid armor class thanks to that. But now this is the reason that I cast that other spell. Look at your natural armor. +4 from Elemental Body, +6 from Frightful Aspect, and +6 from Legendary Proportions. We got 6 more armor from that spell. And that's all it really gave you. It was worth, in my opinion. Of course, your weapon is a better size category because you're bigger, and as such, you're doing more damage with those cool little fisties or your sling staff or whatever. So Legendary Proportions is a solid upgrade. Frightful Aspect is a +1 to your size. Legendary Proportions is a +2 to your size. And again, that's the difference there. Notice it lasts a decent amount of time, just like this one. Yes, we had to cast Lesser Miracle to get it, but you definitely want that spell on you. Now, if that weren't good enough, I would literally go Transformation. The downside for Transformation is not only do we lose our spells, we also don't get many attacks like we would. So, if this form is not doing it for you, you have the ability to turn back. Let's make sure our buffs are still on us. Legendary Proportions is still on us. Legendary Proportion is still on us. Now, Frightful Presence must have fallen off because we transformed back. So Frightful Presence must be tied to your form. Okay, so that's something we just learned together. So literally, I had Frightful Presence on, I transformed into the giant monster, I lost Frightful Presence. I cast Frightful Presence again, boom, I have the buff back on me again. I shrank back down, I lost Frightful Presence again. So it's linked to your form, whereas Legendary Proportions is not. Okay, I could have cast Legendary Proportions first and then grew big, and I'd still have Legendary Proportions. I could have Legendary Proportions on me and turn into a dragon, which I can do, which, by the way, let's do that. Level 6 spell. And it's right here. Dragonkind. Now we only get Dragonkind 1, but let's obviously go Fire Dragon of some kind. So here's a red dragon for you. Bam. And again, we can cast spells while in this form, but look at the Polymorph. +4. It stacks. The Dexterity bonus, there's nothing there for Dragonkind 1. Polymorph +2 for red Dragonkind 1. We got multiple attacks around instead of just 3. You get more than you think. Here's your laundry list of attacks. You get a bite, 2 claws, 2 wing attacks. So you get 5 attacks in 1 combat round from this, which is pretty awesome. Because we have divine power on ourselves, we're probably going to get an extra 1 as well. So we probably get 6 attacks in a combat round. Immune to difficult terrain, another natural armor bonus, which again, just to show it to you, +4, +6, they all stack. Again, I can do Frightful Presence now too to make myself even more badass. It's only going to add to my armor and give me that aura, but so what? Again, Legendary Proportions, not Frightful Aspect. Why? Because they're both the size bonus. Con bonus. Again, Legendary Proportions, not Frightful Aspect. Why? Because they're both the size bonus. And again, whichever was there first, or whichever one is the bigger number, is the one that takes hold. But again, solid upgrade because of armor. That's why you did that. So again, with the right buffs, you could be baller. Now, because we're in dragon form and we get all those cool attacks, why don't we do one last spell, level 6. Pause it and find a transmutation spell called Transformation. Notice how all my spells went dark, except for my spell-like abilities. Come and get it, coppers! Alright, what you got for me, boys? I got a big-ass fire dragon for you. That's what I got. And turn, and turn. And turn. Good. Sophie's coming in. Notice how I'm immune to dominate monster. Gotta love that shit. I had... Where is it? There we go. Flat-footed, no less, in that combat round. I had a 63 armor class. Look at all that shit. And I'm saying, you're going to like this build, guys. Let's just do some back in here to get the combat started. I want you to see how many attacks I can get in this crazy-ass dragon transformation form. Because it is pretty badass. Alright. Let's go towards do your thing. Choppy choppy, boys. Choppy choppy. Alright, now first off, before we actually do anything, I do want to show you one other thing here. Notice that I have spell-like abilities still available to me. Notice that this heat aura is a swift action. Okay, so it's centered on me. So watch what happens when I activate this thing. Bam! Damage. 10d4 fire damage. Okay. Notice it's not 10d4 plus 30. Because it should be, right? Because it's fire. It's not a spell. It's a supernatural ability. And that's the difference here. But, solid upgrade besides. And again, just to show you before we attack, my armor includes, of course, the fact that I'm wearing my bracers, right? Where's my +8? Yeah, armor, +8. Bracers of armor, +8. And my natural armor enhancement from magical vestment armor, +5 is still on there. Shield spell still on there. You're going to have massive buffs besides. So if you know what spells stack and when to cast them, hint, hint, wink, wink, then know that you can buff yourself to the 9s. And again, massive armor right now. My touch straight up sucks. But 26 is not as horrible as you think compared to some builds. It's not great, I'll grant you. We had better when we transformed into that giant form because we had a +11 here instead of a +8. So again, we had much better dexterity. But again, that's potato. We have a solid build. Plenty of damage. Oh, was that a 5-foot start? Really? I'm not going to do that. It's hard to judge distance between you and the target when you're in this big-ass form. I assumed that I was on top of the guy. I don't really know. Yeah. activate the 5-foot stutter step to ensure you can get into battle and smack him in the face. You ain't getting shit. 5-foot stutter step. Go for a stroke. Oh, come on. This thing is so goddamn big. You think I'd be able to hit anything in the goddamn ring? I hate the aura, the size category for the dragon, I think, is a mistake. And I'm tired of this bouncing around, so I'm going to have these guys delay to undead. So they flash into them and go click, click, click. Intern. Now, yes. Hit him. There's a 1. There's a 2. And a 3. And a 4. And a 5. Not bad. Is my Divine Power on? So it does not stack with Divine Power for all these weird ass attacks. That's a shame. Because I was kind of hoping for it. So I still got 5 attacks, not 6. But that's okay. And again, probably like every other form, you probably have a turn back. Yep, turn back button. So you have the ability to instantly go backwards. Again, if you're already within range of guys and no one's near you, you might as well activate your heat aura. And again, I can see not getting this, but remember, for that combat round, shows you right here, for the 6 seconds you have that 20% concealment. So this is blur, but only for 6-second increments. And this, something. So it's one of the few that it's bad, but it's not that bad that I want to kick out. If I have a 6 slot, which means 6 that you level up as a pure oracle, I would still, if it fits in the build, but it'd probably be one of the last things to take in my opinion, because it is so lackluster. Let's see, what else could I show you? Technically, I think we still have our rod on us. So, this toggle still works. Oh, but these are supernatural abilities. Never mind. I was about to say, well, I wonder what this firestorm is actually do to these doofuses. Let's actually just light some of them off. 20d6 of damage. And again, you would expect to be 20d6 plus 60. Again, it shouldn't be. It's not because we're in dragon form. It's because, again, it's a supernatural ability. So it's not anything to do with it being that we're in a dragon form. No, it has everything to do with the fact that we literally are using a supernatural ability, not a spell. So no intensified, no rod of extra damage, sling staff of extra damage, no necklace or next robe of extra damage. Now, having said that, I wanted to show you the one last thing, and that was the I told you that for some spells we have the ability to get to level 25, and you may wonder how the hell that would be a possibility. Well, let me show you. You'd have to sacrifice damage, and I'm not a fan of it, but it's under the necklaces, and I don't think I've gifted it to myself, so we have to actually go hunt for it. So let's do that. It's under items. Search for burning. There it is right on top, burning amulet. Gift that to yourself just so you can see what it would look like. Right. There it is right here. Okay, now what does this thing do for you? All right. Burning Amulet is another one of those artisan gifts, which just like your other necklace I just took off. The 4 Elements necklace is a gift from one of your artisans. By the way, the artisan, for those of you wondering, is Mim Wobblegander. She's over in Lake Silverstep. Make sure to do all her quests, and she will kiss your ass and start giving you all kinds of cool jewelry. So she's a jewelry maker. So Burning Amulet's an amazing jewelry upgrade. Notice this. Plus 4 to your caster level for the following fire spells. Burning Arc, Burning Hands, Controlled Fireball, Fire Snake, Fireball, Firestorm, Flamestrike, Hellfire Ray, Scorching Ray. Now let's unpack that shit. When would this be useful? Burning Arc. It's only going to cap out at level 10 anyway. So if you have this after level 10, this would be useless, right? Not necessarily. If you intensify that spell, whether it's your meta magic or that goddamn meta magic toggle that I have, you could be caster level 14, or actually 15 with intensified. So this would work for before that time. So you could upgrade Burning Arc to a 15d6 of damage for the initial spike. Again, plus 4 level, maximum up to 15. So you can't go to 19 with this thing. Same with like Burning Hands. It's 5d4 of damage. Intensified version would be 10d4 of damage. So again, until you become level 10, this necklace would benefit you. But again, you're not going to get this necklace before level 10 unless you just cheated like I did. If you get Mim, she's going to give this shit to you probably around your level 15 or 20. So again, lots of these spells are going to be kind of like, why is this helping me? Here's where it's helping you. Okay, Controlled Fireball is only at 10, so it goes to 15. Fire Snake, on the other hand, goes to level 15d6 of damage. Maximum then with Intensify would be 20. So until you become level 20, this would benefit Fire Snake if you intensified it. You see that? So again, you could get it up to 20. Fireball would go from 10d6 to 15d6, no big deal. Firestorm, on the other hand, this was the one I told you, it's a 20d6 build naturally. 21 with our kick-ass bonus thanks to this, and then 25, so 4 more with this guy on. So our Firestorm could, with intensification, potentially be a 25d6 of damage, AoE style. And remember, we don't have the +1/+1/+1 anymore. We have +1 and +1, and that's it. So instead of 25d6, it should be 25d6 plus 50, not 75. And it's because we had to swap out the necklace. So I said, you're going to be missing out on some damage to do this. Is it worth doing? And I can't answer that for you. You have to do the math yourself on that one. I would say probably no. This would be the necklace I give to Octavia. And the reason for that is because of this last category here, Hellfire Ray. You only get 3 beams. It's 15d6 of damage based on your caster level, maximum 15d6. You cannot intensify this to make it 20d6. It doesn't work that way, as far as I know. So it's really stuck at 15d6 and maximum of 3 beams. But the 3rd beam comes online only when you're caster level 19 or higher. Octavia will never reach any higher than level 19 because of her rogue dip. Remember? She's a rogue 1, wizard 19, probably, or something similar. And as such, she's only going to get caster level 19. So when does her 3rd Hellfire beam come online? Not until she's level 20, technically speaking, unless she's wearing this necklace. That's when this one's beneficial to me. So that this one caps out that 3rd beam sooner than later. And again, if you were like monk dipping it, the same would be applicable to you. Or if you were, going crazy, which you wouldn't, but if you did, like say you did like a monk dip and a paladin 2-level dip, the best caster level you would be 17, 18 with that cool rod in your hand, right? But that's still a level away from getting your 3rd beam. Oh, I wanted my 3rd beam. Well, wear this necklace, and you'll be caster level 22 for this spell. It'll still not give you any more than level your 3rd beam, and still 15d6 of damage, but you will get your 3rd beam back. So this is why Burning Amulet's decent. I still recommend, though, the Amulet of 4 Elements. But on you. But let's prove to you that it works. So let's actually do that Firestorm thing we were just talking about, because I want to see it. We have to have our Intensified on, though, for that.
Out of my way!
Let's see if this actually does what I think it does. I haven't tested it, so I'm theory cracking here, gang. A lot of stuff is just pie in the sky. Boy, I hope this works. But here's our Intensified, and we want not the Firestorm here, because it's a supernatural. We've already proven that. Our actual Firestorm, okay? Again, the one that should be 20d6, and again, I don't know if this is teammate friendly. It is teammate friendly, so we can cast it like right down here. Oh my god, look at all that damage. Let's see, did it work? Reflex save first. Solid DC check of 34. Gotta love that shit. And 25d6 plus 50, like I said. Theory crafting is amazing. Solid damage. And again, would it have been better the other way? Again, look at the math on it. So 25d6 plus 50, if I didn't have that and had the other necklace on, it would have been 20d6 plus 60. Yeah, it would have been 10 points higher on this end, but it'd be 5d6 lower on that end. What's the average on 5d6 for the damage? So you add 5 is the lowest, 30 is the highest, add those together, that's 35. Divide by 2, that's what, 17 point something. Let's just say 17. So you're losing 17 damage by not going to 25d6, and you're losing 10 damage on this side if you went the other way. So this is the better damage version. But it's not going to be the same for all the other spells. So while Burning Amulet is beautiful for this one and only instance of Firestorm being awesome, every other spell is going to be lackluster. Because again, you're losing out on the damage. For example, if I hit them with Fireball, 10d6 of damage, right? That would be 10d6. Intensify would be 15d6. With all three, the necklace, the robe, and the staff in my hand, that 15d6 would add another 45 to it. So it would be 15d6 plus 45. But I don't have that necklace. I have the crappy Burning Amulet on. So it would be 15d6 plus 30. Not 45. Because I just have the staff and the robe. So you see how I just lost out on damage on that one now? And the same would be applicable for Burning Arc. The same would be applicable for Scorching Ray. The same would be applicable for damn near every fire spell you have. This is the one and only time where this is an amazing upgrade. So, it's nice to see the number, don't get me wrong. I'm happy that the math worked out like I expected it to. But now think about how much fun that would have been AoE style if you had used a maximized metamagic rod on that shit. I don't know that you could, but we could have tried. As a matter of fact, I can try. Let's actually do that before we end the video. Just because I want to be a D-bag to these guys. Okay. Get them out, skeletons. Get into here. This damage. Notice that they're on fire, by the way. They really are catching on fire. And that's that extra damage coming from me. 4d6 plus 8. That's from Firestorm. That's freaking sweet. Alright, anywho. What we got? I'm going to do 5-foot star step so I'm out of the way of this mess. We have our Metamagic Rod on. We have our Intensified on. Let's see if this works like I'm hoping it will. Firestorm. Again, it's teammate friendly. Oh my good God, look at all that damage. So 25d6 plus 50 and it got maximized. So it really did work. So that's, what was that, 150? 50, so 200. Yeah, makes sense. And again, if we had... somehow it made it like empowered, let's say with a metamagic feat, and use that metamagic rod at the same time, that could have been 50% more damage. That could have been 300 goddamn damage to these guys. Boom. That's a solid AoE damage spell. I'm just saying, man, you guys are going to like this build. If you want to do damage, this would be one of my go-tos. And again, I like the sling staff. I don't mind having the sling staff as my weapon of choice. Again, you're going to hit hard, and it's going to be because of your buffs besides. So divine power, until divine power, divine favor. Make sure you're using a strength-based bonus, frightful aspect, or until that time, righteous might is a viable option. Enlarged person way before that is a possible option. I don't think you have access to it though. You have, of course, lesser miracle unlocks a lot of doors. So again, legendary proportions is amazing. Your weapon damage goes up in category size if you use frightful aspect or enlarged person or righteous might, or goes up twice if you do legendary proportion. You even have, just as a quick, note on Lesser Miracle, it's not, I'm not a fan of this, but I will mention it because people will be like, oh, I can buff the weapon even more. Yes, I know you can. I want to show it to you, just to level 1 spell. It's not a very good one, in my opinion. I think it's under Transmutation. Hurricane Bow, Lead Blade. There you go. If I was using a melee weapon, I could upgrade the category this way for many minutes. So again, like it says, a 1d8 longsword could suddenly do 2d6 of damage. If you got bigger, thanks to Enlarged Person, Righteous Might, or Frightening Presence, you could go another category up, so 2d6 would turn into 3d6. If you had legendary proportions on yourself, that's 2 categories higher, so 3d6 would probably be 4d6 of damage with a goddamn longsword. And that's not magic weapon. It's just a longsword, a generic longsword. All your other bonuses are still applicable if it's magic, if it's on fire, and blah, blah, blah. But this is an upgrade. And people will be like, why aren't you doing this one? Because it's really kind of who gives a shit. Yeah, I went from 2d6 to 3d6. What extra damage did that give me? 1d6 of extra damage. What does that actually equate to? So again, lowest is 1, highest is 6. Add those together. That's 7. For every attack, you just added 3.5 damage. I mean, yeah, it's more. We knew it was more. Again, we could have done the same with a ranged weapon, like the staff that I have in my hand, Hurricane Bow. But I think this actually only works on bows or crossbows. I haven't tested it, but again, it's possible. As a matter of fact, we can probably just test it right now and see if it works. And again, you'll know because your category is different. It's not, so it doesn't work on it. So again, it makes sense because it should have been for a bow or a crossbow. It said so in this spell. But again, you can use bows. You can use crossbows on this build. You're not stuck to the staff. This staff is just amazing because of what it provides you, that extra damage for fire spells. And that rod is amazing for this build because, again, every spell becomes fire damage at that point. Doesn't mean it's a fire spell like we saw with the Cold Ice Strike. That's why the Intensified did not work on Cold Ice Strike, because it's still considered a cold spell. But again, you have a lot of damaging spells on your list here, man. I could have a Fire Snowball. I could have touch attacks for inflict spells. They all could be fire damage if I so choose. That includes, by the way, the AoE versions. That does work. That is amazing amount of fire damage you whip out into an AoE effect. Again, it's pretty solid. Matter of fact, let's just do one of those before we finish off, just to prove it to you. We have a rod on. We have intensified on. Not that it should work for this. The downside of this one is not teammate friendly, which means you could hurt yourself. So do not hurt yourself with this one. Alright, so here we are. It's 5-foot starter step back, just messing this up. You're going to grab yourself a level 8 spell called Mass Inflict Critical Wounds. See the AoE? You can hurt yourself with it. Now again, if I'm immune to fire, it won't hurt me, but it's not the point. Boom. Will saves, failed for full damage, which is normal. 4d8 plus 34. Part of that came from our 3 different things that are on us, buff, buff, and buff, so that's 12. The other 22 came from probably caster level upgrade thanks to our staff, and level 20 character, so we're technically level 21. Where the other one's coming from, I have no idea. But we're getting an extra point of damage somehow in there. And again, it's solid damage. It's not amazing damage. It's auto hit damage though, so even if they make their save, which doesn't look like anyone did. Nobody? Well, he got hit with a 46 and that's it, and he still made his failed to save. Well, but if they made their save, it would have been half damage. And that's all. But again, AoE, and again, a decent size AoE. Again, that was not a small, insignificant area of effect. I'm just saying, that's bigger than a fireball area of effect. Doesn't do as much damage as my fireball would have done. But if the bad guys were all spread out, this is still to your benefit. So again, know your spells, know what they do, know which ones can be buffed. And again, the Intensify didn't do shit. Because again, it can't be intensified. It's not a fire spell. Just because it's turning into fire damage with the rod doesn't mean jack. But know your fire spells, get your fire spells, and again, not to reiterate a point too much, but Lesser Miracle gives you access to other spells that are fire spells that aren't on your list. I didn't point them out to you, but again, they are there. Just 2 off the top of my brain. You have access to Obsidian Flow and I think Tar Pool. Those are both fire damaging spells, and they are fire spells proper. So if you want to do 10d6 of damage and turn it into 15d6 of damage with this, that should work. And it's 15d6 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15 if you have the staff, the necklace, and the robe on. And again, that should work. That's a solid spell, either of them. Soroko's on your list. Now that one's not amazing because that's only 4d6 I think of damage, plus 20 based on your caster level. But remember, you're level 21, so it should be plus 21. That's not amazing. And you cannot intensify that too much, I don't think. So again, 21 is probably all you're going to see on that. But the 4d6 times 3 times the 4 is going to be another 12 added to it. So it'll be 4d6 plus 12 plus 21, let's say. So that's a 33 damage plus 4 minimum. So 37 damage minimum in a combat round. And it's AoE just swirling and swirling and swirling. And remember, any fire spell I cast, because of this little beauty right, where is it? No, right here, they catch on fire if they fail their save. So, just I'm saying, sets them on fire, continual damage, and they're stuck in the cloud, and continual damage. Sirocco knocking them down, fatigue, then exhaustion, continual damage. It's an amazing combo. You have lots and lots and lots of potential with this build for just straight up fire starter damage level Armageddon. I think you guys will like it. But with that, that's all I'm going to talk about today. Just to mention that we have 2 more videos coming. One's going to be the Dragon Mystery. The last one will be, of course, the Ancient Lore Keeper, where we do the Time Mystery. So I show you my undead build last. That one will be a monk dip. The dragon one, again, will probably not. I might make the dragon the Seeker build. Other than that, I might just talk about the Seeker build just in passing, just because it's worth mentioning the other Oracle type that you could be. I'm not a fan of it. There's a reason to want it. It would have to be a teammate-friendly build, and also on a build where you don't want a lot of your revelations, because the Seeker build, if I remember correctly, instead of getting 6, they get 4. Because they get like really good upgrades here and here. And so there's, and those really good upgrades are kind of meh. But I'll show them to you. That'll probably be for the dragon build. But then again, that's the last one, or the next one. The last one will be the time mystery ancient lore keeper elf build, where you're undead, monking it up, having all kinds of fun. With that, my name is Brother Meek. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about this build. I'll see you guys soon. Bye now.